So recently, bond prices have kind of gone through the roof. For those of you that pay for your membership via bonds, you've probably definitely noticed this because they've gone from an average of around about 70 to 80 mil, which is where they've sat for probably quite a while until recently, all the way up to 100 mil and then 120 mil, and I believe around about 130 million GP as of me recording this video. That's right, 130 million GP for a bond. Holy crap. Now, before you jump into the conclusion of, well, it's just inflation, it is what it is, I actually wanted to go through a few things in this video because it's pretty interesting what's actually going on right now. Bonds are at an all-time high, but they also kind of have way more purchasing power than they would normally have. So let's talk about it. But first, quick interruption. After a while since our last merch launch, we have something new for you guys. This is, as you can clearly see, a medieval torch lamp that you can mount on your wall and makes an epic addition to honestly any setup probably whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is kind of something that I wanted to make for myself, and then I figured it would be something that I could offer to you as well. It has a LED flame bulb inside, so you can actually get the flame flicker effect as well, which looks super nice and cozy. Or if you're wanting it just to brighten up your space, you can have it either on like a breathing setting or a solid light too. This lamp is fully 3D printed, however, the wooden part that you can see is stained by myself with wood stainer to make it look super authentic. It has a decently long lead for you to be able to plug it into the wall so you can have it running, which has a UK plug on it, but if you're from the US, I will also chuck in a converter for you. Other countries, you'll have to find an adapter for this. These take a hell of a lot longer than the original lamps that I did, so I don't know how many I'm actually going to sell realistically. So if you are wanting one of these, then get your orders in. There's a link in the pinned comment in the description, and I'll have them out to you as soon as possible. And as always, thank you guys for the extra support in the channel. It really helps a ton. For this, we're going to be using Ellie, which you can see here, which I use quite a bit for tracking prices and stuff to kind of see what's going on and why it's so interesting that bond prices are so high while other items are actually coming down, which feels bad for people in a couple of ways, but also good for people buying bonds, I suppose. If you take a look at this one, for example, we're on Greater Chain here, so from Raksha. This has always been a pretty decent drop from Raksha. Okay, so you can see like 700 million GP for quite a while, and then it spiked up to 800 here. Magic must have got a buff or something must have happened around here, and then it just kind of went down. Now, I'm not saying that the price crashes are due to bond prices. Obviously, they have no relevance, I would assume, in any way whatsoever, but right now, holy hell, 330 million GP. Magic's on an all-time low, of course, so it kind of makes sense, but Greater Ricochet, pretty much the same sort of thing. This was like a 1 billion GP drop for the longest time, and then it settled around about 800 mil, and then it went back up a little bit, and we've seen like a price come down here. Now, of course, this is going up again slightly at the moment because of range being so damn good right now, but it's still sitting around about 700 mil, which is a lot less than it was for the longest time, right? Like it was near that 1 bill mark, 900 mil mark for the longest time. Now this may see an increase to maybe 800 or something like that. We'll have to see what happens. It has been going up since the range got buffed, but even so, this just gives this is Raksha's best drop, and it's not quite like an over the top, like holy shit, this is a huge, like a massive 1 billion GP drop. 700 mil still good, it's great, but it's a low on the lower side for Greater Ricochet. If we look for like Solak, obviously as you can see, like this is a tier 92 crossbow, which doesn't have that much value right now because bows are all in and whatnot. But Solak itself doesn't feel that great to do right now because like 122 mil for a bow. You got the Grim Pages, of course, and if you can get smash out like super fast kills, then it's going to be consistent money, like really consistently decent money. But like for that excitement of like, oh yeah, big drop, it's just not going to be there. Then we'll come back here. Even the Boy the Last Guardian, which is from Zami, is taking a hit as well. This has obviously been like super expensive for the longest time, and then it kind of dropped off a little bit, and we're seeing like a slight increase in price for the last like this is April 21st, the last track on this. This is actually down, I'm pretty sure, because I got a drop the other day, and I'll put it on screen for you guys. I got a drop the other day, and it was GE estimated at like 900 mil, and it went for like 600 mil for the top piece or the bottom piece, one of those, and the price is just way lower than what you would expect from it. So getting these drops, same for Staff of Armadil, is also down as well. Again, magic gear, but melee gears is here too. The vestments from Zamorak down too, so Zamorak doesn't feel that profitable in comparison to how it would normally lately as well. Omniguard, it's not the same as what it was, and we've got the Elite Serenic, of course. It's kind of an outlier. It's gone up because everybody's playing ranged, but it is on its way back down again after the hype there. Vorkath pretty much dead now, I guess. This was insanely good for a while because of the codex price went up and up and up, and people weren't farming Vorkath, so the demand for Vorkath like scales and spikes was pretty high, and then people found out, oh wait, Vorkath's actually good, and the price flew up, and now it's pretty much dead. Like this died like overnight. It was so weird, like maybe not overnight, but like within like a couple of weeks or something, it just got really popular and then dropped off. So as you can see, prices of these rares and stuff have actually dropped off quite a bit, but bonds are just way up. So chasing these for people who are actually buying them for membership through in-game GP feels a lot worse, because obviously you're killing, say you just do Zami, say all you do is Zami, right? You obviously are still going to cover a bond pretty easily if you grind out Zami a lot all the time, because you're getting all of this GP, right? But it still feels a lot worse because your actual like value of killing Zami has dropped down, so paying for those bonds with membership is pretty crazy. So let's talk about this on another point of view as well. The next thing to consider, of course, is going to be free-to-play players. Free-to-play players used to be able to grind out getting a bond. It would be like 50 to 80 mil at the realistic time. And they were like, yeah, okay, 80 mil is a long-ass grind, man. Like, it felt bad even then. Killing chickens in free-to-play is like one of the best money makers. It's like 2 mil an hour. It's really not good. But at least, you know, 40 hours of grinding free to play. You obviously don't just do that for the whole time. You do other stuff as well. You maybe get lucky in a few places, whatever. But at the end of the day, it was still viable. 130 million GP for a bond right now. What are we talking about? 14 days membership. 130 million GP. The great thing in the past was if you were a free-to-play player and you did manage to get one bond, just one bond, you grinded for ages, you got one bond, you got your 14 days membership. If you prepared yourself and if you planned out the next 2 weeks of gameplay, not like to the T, because it wasn't that big of a deal, you could quite easily earn that 80, easily, with this amount of effort, you could earn that next bond to keep your membership going. You could do that because 14 days as a member with probably not really tons of actual like skills to do, you could earn the 80 mil that you needed for the next actual 2 weeks, and also progress your account a bit with some XP gains and all that sort of stuff to keep progressing and staying as a member. Now 130 mil is just unrealistic. Like you're doing your daily Viswax, doing your daily shop runs, doing like a little bit of like money making here and there. You're gonna have to be online 24/7 probably to reach that on an average level account. You're not obviously going from a free to play account to instantly PVMing on members. That's not going to happen. You need to build up your levels from membership. You need to build up your wealth and your gear and all that sort of stuff. And doing that whilst forking out all this money to keep your membership going is just unrealistic. That's why in a recent video I went out and we made a ton of money, and I actually gave the free-to-play players 2 bonds each. Instead of just giving them one, so I've done this for a while now, I'd give them a bond and like, good luck, this is how you focus on getting your next membership bond and stuff. Now we gave them 2 because you're gonna need a full month. You're gonna need it to be able to keep up with that. Like there's no way like 1 bond is long enough membership to continuously keep this, and it feels bad if you become a member and then you have to go back to free to play. That's probably not very good for that player, let's be honest. So overall, as a free to play player, it's feeling pretty damn bad right now to consider paying for your membership via bonds. Now this is like the only option for some players. Like some players in countries where income's not that much, like you aren't considering buying your membership every single month because it's just not viable. So at least you can chip away at the game a little bit, buy a bond, and then you can sustain it from there, right? It's just not really an option now unless you go absolutely crazy on doing that in game. So hopefully there's something happens about this, because I really like the idea of having another route from free to play to membership for the free players. Like I think it's a really good idea and it was super useful in the past, but at 130 mil and still rising, I don't know if this is something that really is even at any point in being on the bond anymore. You might as well like make a separate token maybe or something. I don't know how you would handle it, but it's pretty crazy. As for the perspective of Jagex's point of view on this, I think I'm probably siding with a few of the conspiracy theorists on this side and saying that the price of bonds being high is obviously good for Jagex in terms of bringing money in, because right now, if you're going to buy bonds, you actually have more purchasing power than you ever have, it seems. Like, a bond is worth way higher than it's ever been worth, and all the items that you might want to buy with it are going down in price, so you don't have to buy as many bonds in the first place to be able to buy this stuff, but you might as well buy more bonds because they're higher than ever. Like, now's the time to buy bonds for those players' perspective, right? Like, you don't have to buy as many, you can buy the freaking items that you want. Why wouldn't you? But a lot of people are probably going to be thinking, hey, Jagex is definitely probably manipulating bond prices. And not in the way of like just manipulating bond prices, but like removing oddments. They're not removing them, but like you don't get them as anywhere near as much anymore, right? Like way less, changing it so that you have to spend more oddments to be able to get certain things, and making sure players have less of them built up for good events and whatnot. Also pushes bond sales in the future for more keys on events and all that sort of stuff. Different specific treasure hunter promotions to push the sale of bonds in game 2, because the high level players with billions of GP who are maybe going for 120 all, 200 mil all, they're happy to dump GP into bonds and use those bonds for keys. Now, that's not a realistic way to actually progress your account, because it's crazy. But for the people who would rather PVM but still want to go for like 120s alls, like even I've considered, maybe I just PVM and do Zami for like 10 hours straight, get tons of GP, spend it all on keys, and like just see how much XP we get. Maybe we'll do that for a video. We'll see what happens. But then that pushes the price of bonds up, right? And they're still doing it because they can make more money than they know what to do with. So it's pretty crazy. Jagex, of course, are going to be happy with bond prices being high, because more people are going to be attracted to buying the bonds to sell them, and bonds are actually more valuable to Jagex than membership sales anyway, seeing as, of course, 2 bonds cost more than 1 month membership. But I'm not going to fully jump in and say Jagex are definitely just milking the player base with the bond sales. Like, it's still a player demand item, you know? They can create the more demand for it to make people want to do that, but at the end of the day, the players still set the prices of items in game, I suppose. If we look at it and go, nope, I am not like 200 mil. Imagine if bonds reach 200 mil. That's, like, it's crazy. If you asked me this 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I think bonds will ever hit 200 mil. I don't know. No way. 200 mil, like maybe in like 10 years or something. No. They could hit 200 mil like the end of the year, maybe the next year, possibly, if they keep going as they are going. I expect them to drop down a little bit here and then go up again and then down again. But the way they're going, bro, we were talking about them hitting 100 million GP recently, going, they are higher than ever. They actually broke 100 mil, 130 mil now. Another 30 million GP in that short amount of time what? A few other people have also said this is probably to do with the player base too, because if there's less bonds coming into the game, then the demand of them ends up eating all that up, and so players can sell them for a lot higher, which makes a lot of sense too, right? If players are actually leaving the game and taking a break from the game while we wait for content, there's going to be less people buying bonds. And I actually do think that the people leaving and taking a break likely are the players who were spending money on bonds to progress their account, because the people who were grinding out hours and hours and hours every single day to upkeep their account and progress through, rather than buying the bonds and progressing, which, you know, you level however you level, it doesn't matter, it's not the point. I feel like those people would stick around more, the people who spent all the time playing the game, than the people who are like, oh yeah, I'll buy a few bonds, kill a few bosses, and then hop off. Those people probably aren't buying the bonds as much anymore because they're just taking a break right now. So the demand could be higher than the supply right now, maybe. Or maybe the demand's just super high because of the way that treasure hunters are working and the way that like oddments and proteins and all that stuff has kind of been dwindled out as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but either way, I thought this was an interesting topic to talk about and get your feedback on and all that sort of stuff, so let me know, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.